Grace Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight and just thank you today for this beautiful Lord's Day. We just thank you for everything you do for us in our lives. Lord, we ask today that you go with us during this meeting, just that everything we do will be pleasing in your eyes and that we accomplish our goals. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank everyone for coming out tonight. Didn't get the time, you missed a good budget meeting a while ago. It's so much. That being said, start off with the roll call. Curtis is in the back. Wendy was here.
I'm right here. Taking out the form.
Dennis is here. Yep. Miss Sue is here. Tyler's here. Franklin's here. I'm here. Jumping with Buddy is here. Miss Virginia's here. That was fantastic. Thank you, Sherry. And Mr. Walsh is here. So, everyone is on board. And that being said, this time we have a chance to look over the agenda. I'll accept and entertain a motion.
I motion that we approve the agenda.
And probably move to second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same, motion carries. All right, next up is approval of the minutes for June 26, 23.
Move approval of the minutes from the town council meeting on June 26th.
Again, probably move to second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same, motion carries. Public participation. We have a change of venue tonight. Okay? For public speaking, if you wish to speak, you need to register with Miss Wendy, fill out a speaker's request form, and submit it to her. At that time, we're going to ask each person to approach the podium, state your full name and address for the record, and your comments will be limited to 3 minutes. We're going to follow basically the same thing that the county uses. With that being said, if you have not, she has the form with her, and I will give you all a few minutes to do that if you wish to, if you haven't already. So, do you have anything, Ms. Wendy?
Nope. Let somebody want to talk publicly.
Okay, nobody wants to talk first. Okay. Informational items, we'll move right on ahead then. Our second budget workshop will be Monday, July the 24th at 5 p.m. here. Basically, it's fun. Ain't that right, Ms. B? Yeah. So, our next council meeting will be the same night, following that at 6 p.m. Bread for the Mighty Food Bank mobile food drive is Friday, July the 27th. That's at 1 p.m. at the City Park. And the Duke Energy Florida Transmission Reliability Enhancement Project.
I'll speak to that. We've got
Yes.
other information on that. So Duke Energy was in my office last week and said that they're going to be using some drones here in town. So if anybody sees drones above their residences, it's Duke Energy. If you have questions, I have a phone number here you can call with any questions.
drones being used in the city though, for the last probably 3
I don't think those are associated. I saw that too, but I think those are somebody else because this hasn't started yet. He said it was going to start in the next couple of weeks. So, but again, I do have an 877 number if anybody has any questions on it. But if you see drones, more than likely they are Duke Energy.
Okay.
That's what they said.
All right. Well, Sue, since you've got the floor, take off.
All right. First up is first reading of ordinance 23-01. I'm going to go ahead and read the title for the record. An ordinance to be known as the Town of Bronson Water and Sewer System Capacity Fee Ordinance, providing findings, providing for imposition of water and sewer capacity fees, providing for payment and use of monies, providing for developer contribution credit, requiring periodic review, declaring exclusion from the Administrative Procedures Act, providing for public hearing, providing for conflict and severability, providing for an effective date. All right, so let me give a little bit of background, mostly for Councilors Phillip and Councilor Schuler. Town did a water and sewer capacity fee study through Florida Water Association. It's in your packet. I believe it was completed in January of this year. We did a first reading of this ordinance, I think it was back in April. And one of the things that we kind of got stuck up on is originally, we took this ordinance from the city of Bronson. This is basically theirs, and we modified it a bit. And originally, I only put in residential for the water and sewer fees. The council came back and said, we really think we should be putting in commercial. Kind of let it sit for a couple months because I know you guys were really new. We had a lot of other things going on. The reason I'm bringing it up now is because Aroma Estates is starting to get more traction. They're going to be coming before the council at the next council meeting to talk about next steps, talk about sewer, that sort of thing. So that's why I'm bringing it back up again. So I want to talk a little bit about what these fees mean and what we can use them for. So there's two different ways we can pass these. We can pass them what's called the remaining useful life. If you look at your packet, I kind of highlighted some of this for you. Actually, let me back up. Capacity fees are proportional to the capacity set aside for the new customer development or connection. In some systems, they're called capacity fees, in others, they're called impact fees, benefit assessments, user fees, contributions in aid of construction or connection charges. When Florida Water came in to make the presentation, I think it was back in February, they continuously said to us, it's growth paying for growth. You don't want your current residents to have to pay for new sewer and water going in. You're making your developers and people who are putting in brand new homes pay for that growth. So again, we have two different options that we can pass. We can either go with the remaining useful life or replacement value basis. Remaining useful life is how much that utility has left remaining. So the length of time utility infrastructure, piping, pumps, tanks, and equipment is likely to be functional before it requires replacement. One of the things they said in here is that Bronson wells and water treatment plant were constructed between 1987 and 1993, approximately 30 years ago, and it's already past what the state would consider its useful life, which is roughly 27 years. So Florida Rural Water is not recommending that we pass the remaining useful life. They're recommending we go with the replacement value, which is the cost of the utility to install new infrastructure, piping, pumps, tanks, and equipment in today's dollars. The difference, obviously it's a very big difference, and this is, again, there were a lot of comment back in April when we were talking about this and did the first reading. If we go with the remaining useful life for the water, it's $1,220 per, let's call it a single family home. Replacement value is $2,750. Not a huge, I mean, it is roughly double, but not as big of a difference as it is on the sewer side. On the sewer side, the remaining useful life is $5,720. Whereas the replacement option is $9,780. So you're looking at $6,940 for remaining useful life between both utilities, or $12,530 between both utilities for the replacement value. They also talk a little bit about the fact that they would recommend doing a CPI, which I know we've talked about with the council before. In 2022, the CPI is 4.53%. And that's something that we've talked about. Once we take the water increase October 1st of this year at 5%, and the second 25% on the sewer in May 1st of next year, we talked about doing a CPI maybe like October 1st of every year. Okay, so what can you use these funds for? You can use them for...
So just stop, just
Yep.
1 second.
Yep.
Okay, this is for their benefit. Okay?
This is for correct.
Okay, this is for your benefit. To do this, we had to do the study. That's law.
We have to do something correct.
Because if you do not, like the city of Williston did, they went implemented their, made up their own rules that they went, and they got caught with their hands in the cookie jar, and they had to pay that money back. We don't-
Millions of dollars.
We don't do it. Okay.
Millions of dollars, right.
And the number two thing is that you have to use one or the other. Because you have to use A or B, or E, correct?
Correct. When we first started talking about this, I think it came up during the strategic planning meetings for the capital improvement plan. I know we were kind of bandying about, like, maybe we'll just do $1,000 or $2,000. We were making numbers up. And yeah, that's when we found out that Williston got their hands slapped because they did the same thing. They just arbitrarily made up a number, and then they weren't able to defend that number, and so now they're, returning all of that money to its residents. So the reason we have to go with these is because if we were to be sued for whatever reason, Florida Rural Water would defend us, and we'd be okay. But we do have to go with one of these two numbers. Now,
So the money that we collect could be used for,
okay, so the money can be used for design or construction plan preparation, construction management and inspection, capital construction costs, reimbursement of excess developer contribution credit, payment of principal and interest, necessary reserves, cost of issuance under any bonds or any other indebtedness issued by the town to provide funds to construct the required growth impacting capital improvements. The other thing to keep in mind is we do have to do a new rate study every 3 years to make sure that these, whatever we pass is still good at that point. And if you guys do pass this, it goes into effect 90 days from the date of publication. Okay, so that's kind of a background on how we're here. So it stalled back in April because, like I said, I only put in the residential. We came back and said, we don't really want just residential for the next 3 or 4 years. We should include commercial. So if you look at the actual ordinance itself, and go to like the bottom of the second page, we put in these ERUs, which means equivalent residential unit. So a brand new house comes in here, it would be connected to water and sewer. If you guys pass the replacement value, they pay that $12,000 and change. As you look on page 3, and you see the whole list of commercials, so, a bar, a barber shop, a beauty salon, bowling alley, a church, a convenience store, dentist, et cetera, you can see that they don't pay the whole 100%. They may pay, like, bowling alley pays 1/3. If the bowling alley came in here, they wouldn't pay the full $12,000 and change, they would pay roughly $4,000 and change. So that's the reason that this stalled back in April, is we wanted to go back and put these ERUs in for both water and sewer to make sure that something came in, in the next 3 or 4 years, until we have a chance to reevaluate this, that it's got the commercial in there. So there's a commercial component for both the water side, and there's a commercial component for the sewer side. They're the same, but they're both different. So, we're back to another first reading. Basically, everything we did in the past, we threw out. Now we're starting again at this first reading. If it was to pass, and you guys can change this obviously, but if it was to pass, then it would get noticed, and then we would, vote in a second reading sometime in August, assuming you guys want to move forward. But again, the biggest thing is we want to make sure that Oklahoma Estates, assuming they're coming in with the 52 new houses, that they're paying this impact fee.
Okay. Any discussion, any questions?
I think we need something, but I don't like the replacement fee. I think 12,000 is too high. So I think that might blow up some people from wanting to build. I like the, option A, the permitted useful life. I think the $12,000 is too high. Especially when you have to pay that upfront before you can even get started.
but we have to put in something that we're not going to get anything.
We have to put in something. So if you guys decide that you want to do the remaining useful life, I can go back and change this, and then again, we go back to the first reading at the next council.
My only thing is that it's not the actual cost of what it would be to replace if it isn't.
And this is,
So we would end up, if we only did the 6.9 and it ended up, for some reason have to replace it, then that would be money that we would have to pay instead of they would have to pay. So again, our people who already live here are gonna be responsible for something that somebody could have paid when they were moving. And we got houses going up everywhere, and you're paying $300,000 and $400,000 for a house. $12,000 really ain't a lot of money. worry about the impact on us versus the impact on somebody new coming in.
And we go back, these numbers are a little bit elevated due to the fact of the density we have here. This could change, these numbers could change. And I think we come back in kind of into line here in the next few years with what some of the rest of it. If we compare ours with Chiefland or Williston or anybody else's, ours are elevated due to the density of our
Plan B is really elevated
Yes,
compared to,
and it boils down to just that, so.
And she explained that when she came in and did the presentation initially, she explained the difference between, you know, the density in Chiefland and Williston versus us, and when she even explained it in High Springs, which they were in the process of passing on as well, that theirs is even higher than ours because again, they're so spread out. So yeah, as we hopefully can get more and more people on sewer and it's more compacted, hopefully this won't be this way.
So when we do the study in 3 years, it could change again.
Good change, yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So I guess the question is, I need some direction from the council as to whether or not you want to move forward with this, or you want to change it to be the remaining useful life. So we know what to do.
I like the remaining useful life.
Can I say? You know, I was with, now like she said, the remaining useful life of our system is already done. And I'm in agreement with Councilman Shue. If they come in to purchase a house, and then if you do the, what you're saying is, and that there's not enough funds, the town is gonna be responsible for it. And once the town is responsible for so much, then we as customers is gonna end up putting that bill. And just say if somebody new wanna come in, if they wanna build a house, you know, like you say, right now, you can't find one under $250,000, that's just so. So if they're paying that kind of money, the $12,000, like you say, it probably wouldn't be quite that much, but that's not gonna bother them at all, because it's actually coming from, it's not coming from the person themselves, it's coming from who they're gonna get the money from.
If you're including it in a mortgage, it's not that bad. But the people who are building their own houses, they gotta pay that money up front.
Well, that's going to come in very, it's just.
Well, I know, but $12,000 stretched out over 30 years is different than $12,000 at the same time, right then, before you can start building your house.
We need to have a vote on which direction.
I would, because we need,
Is that what you're asking?
we need direction, correct? Because if I need to change these, then if I change them between one, then we gotta go back to another first reading again for the next
If
meeting.
you have the numbers and you want to assert the numbers tonight, change numbers if that's what it turns out to be. You could do that and adopt it in first reading tonight. What you probably need is somebody to make a motion one way or the other and vote on it, and then you'll know what you want to do.
Good. That's pleasure, council pleasure.
Useful life is the $6,900 and something dollars, and the replacement value is $12,000.
6940 versus 12530.
So Sue, if somebody makes a motion for the useful life tonight, are we stuck with that fee for how long? 2 years? 3 years? 3 years.
Well, until we do the study again, remember, we gotta do the pay to the study.
Which means if those new houses came in within 3 years, they would pay the 69 instead of 12.
So if those 50 houses came in the next 3 years, they would be, we would complete the fee.
But that's $350,000 that we don't have.
You get a hold for 12,000.
But it's strictly up to what you feel comfortable. What the market is comfortable. The population is going to continue to grow. That just continues to, we got construction going on. We've got construction people here right now. I can tell you right now what's going to happen. The rest of the country is maybe slowing down some, but it's not here.
What to do it now?
Replacement value.
I make a motion that we go with the replacement. What to do it now?
I second.
Okay. Motion with a second. Any other discussion? That being said, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Me.
All right, we got a 2-2.
It's all right.
It's up to you now.
I'm gonna vote nay. Not because, but just think of the market rate. And we can't change it. And we don't want anything
I make a motion to go with the remaining useful life.
I think
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
2-2, and I vote yea on that. So we'll go with that.
It carries.
So what carried is the change numbers, not the ones that are in there?
Correct.
Okay.
Change numbers.
Sue,
Yes.
for the record, announce what the numbers are going to be, the change numbers in the ordinance that was adopted at first reading, so it's clear.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so with the remaining useful life, the impact fee for water would be $1,220, and for wastewater would be $5,720, for a total of $6,940.
How much was it for the wastewater?
$57.20. So good?
Right.
Said 6,000, how much?
6,940.
Yeah, $6,940.
I said
Versus previously it was 9,000.
That's
12,000.
Well, I'm sorry.
Okay. Next on the agenda is Resolution 23-15. I will read the title for the record. And there's two in here, so just bear with me.
Sarah, can I explain this before you read?
Absolutely.
This relates to the RV park. In order to move things along, there are two potential resolutions here. One, accepting it and moving it forward, and one, denying it and saying you don't want it. Since you haven't acted, both resolutions are there, and depending on what you decide to do, one or the other of them would, I believe, be appropriate. One saying yes and one saying no, planning. All right, I'm sorry, sir.
No, that's fine. Okay, so, Resolution 23-15, resolution to rezone parcel for use as a recreational vehicle RV facility pursuant to town ordinance providing for such designation in appropriate circumstance with a configuration depicted on attached conformal sketch. Okay, so, for the public, included in the town council's packet is the staff review and staff recommendation from Louis Cerna. He serves as our planner from Calvin Giordano and Associates, which is through Safe Built, who is our building official. And at the end of his staff report, read.
Conditional approval.
Yes, he gave a conditional approval for up to 50 lots. Maximum 50 lots. Okay. One of the things that Attorney Moore put into the resolution, because obviously we had people in here when we did the public hearing, we kind of summarized people's objections to the RV park. So public comments received and considered suggesting the following concerns: enforcing age and population limitations, proximity of schools, stressing of public facilities, use intensity inconsistent with overall planning concept, negative effect on property values, vulnerability to severe weather, animal issues, increase in traffic, septic accommodation on lots of less than half an acre, and spot zoning considerations. So when I emailed you guys last week, Mayor Parton asked for you guys to be thinking about if there are particular caveats that you want to put, assuming you do want to move forward. So I gave you a couple of examples. If you want to put, ask them to put fencing, if you wanted to do the capacity fees, because again, we may be too far down the road, assuming this passes. You guys may want them to have to pay the capacity fees. And then at the end, at the very end of this part of your packet, I gave you the park rules and guidelines agreement that the Floridian RV park is using. I didn't get his application. Ray Sanick actually asked me for that today. I apologize, I didn't think of that. But these are kind of 31 general guidelines, and highlighted something that you might be interested in. There is a section, there's quite a few caveats on here about pets. Vicious breeds or barking dogs will not be tolerated. A limit of 2 dogs or 2 pets. All pets must be under control of a handheld leash at all times. New or additional pets require pre-approval from management. Pets can't be left outside unattended. They're not allowed in buildings. You have to clean up after your pet. So there's a bunch of, like I said, there's a bunch of kind of caveats that he's got on here. So I want you guys to see those. But at this point, it's up to the council. You voted in favor as the planning board at the last council meeting, and this one you're acting in the capacity as the actual town council as to whether or not you want Spot Beaches to move forward with this RV park on Main Street.
Let me get this. Those various restrictions, if any or all of them, were to be opted for.
Correct.
That would be part of the final approval. You wouldn't implement them now.
Correct.
But you would certainly reserve the right to impose them when the final approval, if there were to be one, is given.
So, I would like to reserve the right to impose, a 15-foot buffer around RV park, keeping any trees in place with opaque fence and privacy landscaping. Also, temporary structures as canvas awnings and screen enclosures are allowed but must be removed immediately upon vacancy per space. RV parks' internal roads must be paved, privately owned, and maintained, provide a continuous path of travel with no dead ends or cul-de-sacs, and have primary entrances and exits connected to collector or arterial roads instead of side streets. Also, to prohibit park models / trailers from being permanently anchored on any RV parks in the city. Also, less than 15% of the models / trailers in park can be extended stay. And the last one would be RV park, actually 2 more. RV park must hook up to central water and sewer with 1 meter per park. And if available, electric lines be ran underground.
Are you getting that from our ordinance somewhere, or is that extra?
It's just a few of the parks that have been passed in the last year. All of them have had these similar caveats.
Other places?
Yes.
All right. You want to impose them now?
Well, I want to reserve the right
Okay.
as long as everyone approves, as long as everyone else agrees.
I do want to talk a little bit about something that Councilor Phillips just brought up, because it was brought up. There was quite a bit of conversation about it in, I think, the public hearing. So somebody said at the time that there was a state law against people being in an RV park for 6 months or more. And they pointed to the fact that on JP Lori's website, it says you pay $500 a month for the first 6 months, and at month 7, it goes down to $475 a month. So Attorney Moore and I actually looked into it. What the state statute says is that when somebody stays for more than 6 months, they're no longer considered transient, that's the word they use. And if you're going to evict them, you have to use the same eviction process as you would if somebody was a full-time resident. So it's not a state statute, but we do have, when Attorney Moore wrote the ordinance back in 2017, there is a provision in there basically saying that somebody cannot be there longer than a temporary living situation, however it's in the ordinance. So, but it's not, temporary is not defined as 6 months or a year or whatnot. So You may want to define that, or you may not want to define that, but that is something that the ordinance has, but not the state statute.
That temporary is probably the equivalent of trenching in the state statute, whatever that reduces to be.
I'd like to clarify that in the ordinance to 6 months is a cap on temporary.
So the ordinance would say that one person cannot continuously occupy an RV in the park for more than 6 months.
Correct.
For more than 6 months in a year, which would probably be a better way to put it. Otherwise, they're gone for a week and they come back.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. What I'm saying is that can be done.
We got a calendar here.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Yeah.
Can I say that, can I come up here and talk for a minute, a minute? Thank you. I understand your concerns about how the transient people from staying here in Bronson for 6 months, but at the school, they have teachers that would like to come here and live in inexpensive areas to rent. There are traveling nurses that travel to Gainesville, Crystal River, which would be a great location for them to be at. There are linemen that would be able to stay there for months, and sometimes if we have a hurricane, we're going to want a place for linemen, and it could take a year to rebuild. So maybe looking at something a little less strict when it comes to timelines, and maybe focus more on what type of people, what type of campers that we're putting there.
But we cannot yea or nay who stays there.
You can make recommendations to the park owners of how, like for instance, like Strawberry Fields or the one in Liston, you can only have your camper there if it's like a 2001 or a newer model. 10 years. Standard 10 years.
Yeah, but that's up to.
We can make it conditional.
We can make it.
I just think putting a 6-month time frame for instance, for a teacher who wants to come and stay in a mobile home park or an RV park for the school year would have to leave and then come back.
You have another park though.
Yeah, that's for 40 and older. So
This
there
is-
But this is 55.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is 50
Yeah, 55.
But there's still nurses and we also have an older population of people too that we have to think about, that we don't have assisted living or a lot of options for people.
I was just talking about something.
So, I mean, just think about the 6-month timeline, like, just think about the types of people that they're gonna attract, because you're gonna have to have money to pay rent there. It's not like you're gonna be, and you're also gonna add to our economy. If you think about it, the restaurants and the gas stations.
For me personally, I'm not as worried as who it is. I'm more so worried about the number of people in this space around all of these other people who may not want it there. But
I understand.
But my worries have been met with other things that have been put in place. But I get what you're saying, and we needed you like 3 meetings ago with all the stuff you just said.
Well, I just honestly just found out about it. I was reading a post on Facebook, ironically. I didn't know this was going on, so.
Because everything you just said were great ideas, and probably are some of the people that we are gonna have there.
I just think it would be good for our community.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for listening.
Have you seen, my question I guess goes to Anthony, have you seen the Floridian contract that they require?
I have not got a copy of that, but I do have a copy of like the rules and policies of the RV park behind Walmart and then Strawberry Fields.
Is the Floridian electricity under the ground? There's no
This will definitely be underground. This will definitely be underground.
okay.
Yeah.
So right now, the caveat, that part that's not what that doesn't come until afterwards. So first now we have to get the approval just for them to go forward, and then we ask for the caveat, the other stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, Teresa, what do you think? I mean,
what you just said.
So we're okay with just passing the resolution for tonight and then?
That allows him to go
The
forward.
resolution, just as she recited, allows him to go forward.
I just wanna say-
Doesn't guarantee him any lack of all kinds of restrictions, whatever's appropriate, whatever's determined to be appropriate.
So like he recommended that we give a provision, what is it? Conditional approval, which would allow them to move forward, which is what the ordinance. Then we can discuss all this other stuff after.
We would still have to get final approval.
You still have to get final
Permits and all
approval
that.
of engineered plans and a set of restrictions and everything that relates to the organization of the operation.
I got a meeting scheduled with Michelle Langford about some questions I had for her. I had one with Randy Rudder, the property appraiser, the other day about this, some questions that people have brought up. So I still have one with Michelle, but she's out of town, so she should be back tomorrow, I think.
You know, to be blunt, what you're doing tonight, if you approve it to go forward on the recommendation of the planning board, which is you, you are not guaranteeing them final approval. There may be conditions, there may be restrictions, there may be parameters that they can't conform to. I mean, I'm saying that honestly, I'm not just, throwing this
I'm
out.
gonna go ahead and ask the purpose
It's a
question.
continuing proposition.
When it comes to that, Angie, to y'all, have, these caveats that we're talking about here, is this anything that's is this a deal breaker for you?
No, I think, obviously a fence is definitely gonna be a big one. The large breed dogs, which we've talked about multiple times at the other meetings, that's definitely not gonna be there. I mean, you figure as far as the amount of people, there's gonna be probably 2 people, per RV. So you mentioned the dogs, the fence, the buffer, there'll be at least a 15-foot, maybe even more.
Leaving the trees, yes.
Yeah, pretty much what you see there as far as the trees, if you've been by there, most of that's gonna stay. The only stuff that's coming out is the vines and the, underbrush stuff.
Yes, sir.
We wanna keep as many trees there. Our plan is, once we get up and going, we prefer to plant fruit trees.
Yes, sir.
And, that would be for your garden guests or whoever. And it may not even just be fruit trees. We wanna keep it
It's natural.
as natural as possible, yeah. We don't want it to be wide open. I don't know if you've seen the one in Chiefland behind Walmart, but it's wide open. We don't want that. We want to line our roads decently. You mentioned the paved roads.
Yes.
Obviously, the paved roads aren't going to be the first thing. But like we mentioned, the conditional approval, on the ordinance, it mentions the approval is submitted, conditional approval and disapproval. Basically, like you guys mentioned, we mainly want some type of approval. Our engineering is gonna, probably gonna be $10,000 easy to start. So before we go and put this kind of money into it, we gotta have some kind of, not necessarily help, but reassurance that, hopefully it will continue. And I mean, again, it's not gonna be, I don't know if you've seen one, it's been mentioned, the RV park between Wilson and Bronson. I don't even know how old those RVs are. Some of them probably older than me.
So y'all keep talking about it.
I know, and I keep looking for it now. I don't know what y'all
Is it
talking
the
about.
house that has the three-way,
literal.
is it the three-way house, the yellow three-way house in the?
No. So you know where,
RV park.
is it 241? You know, 241?
Yeah.
Just on our side, on Bronson's side of that, on the right-hand side.
There's not a lot of trailers.
Yeah, there's not a whole bunch. It's old.
1968.
That thing been there
I'll pull
forever.
up.
We weren't even here. Don't worry about it.
Because I have looked several times.
When you go, well, when you go by, you'll definitely see it, but it is hard to see. There's some of the RVs that are in there, look like they put yard sales up, so who knows how.
Oh, that's what it is. Oh,
Yeah. So, I mean, they're old.
Oh, now I know what you're talking about.
They're old RVs.
So I went to Wilson the other day and I was like, I can see, I don't know what you're talking about.
I thought they were talking about permanent trailers, like permanent trailers.
That's it.
And then so I did have another thing. I do think that you may have some traffic issues. And what I was thinking was, because on the 24th 24 side of your property is so long that you may want to have like a little runway for the trailers to get back onto the road and make them exit out one way.
Right, so right now, again, comes down to the approval and the engineering. We're gonna have to talk with DOT, that's obviously gonna be the state of Florida,
Yes.
which obviously they'll be brought in. My thinking is at least a turn lane.
Yes.
There's a power pole right there, so trying to figure out exactly where that's gonna be. Me personally, I'd like one from each direction. The one coming from Gainesville, I don't know, I'm not an engineer.
Yeah.
But, you know, especially because some of these RVs, you figure, people coming from up north, they're huge. I
Yes.
mean, they're 40 foot,
Yes.
at least, most of them. So,
It's
yes,
gonna take up the road when it turns, right?
right, and I've worked many accidents
And I
on
just want to
24.
say, if this does not get off the ground, if you do not complete this, please know that we need a nursing home. I swear. Seriously.
Does your property, extend over to the little trail, I guess, the little street or whatever it is?
To Forest
that goes to Lamar and Whitney House?
Yes.
Yeah, it goes the little dirt road past the.
Okay, that's the one just behind us?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it connects to their property.
You might get something where they can come out over there, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's gonna come down to the whole engineering thing. As far as the 24 side, that would be DOT. Because I'm sure they're gonna make us put something in there.
DOT will tell you what you gotta do.
Yeah, I was saying, I'm not coming out of our hands here. But they'll definitely be brought into it, obviously, and then like Mr. Franklin said, as far as trying to figure that out, I mean, if it helps the people behind us to pay that, we're not against helping. You know, that's why we're trying to bring this in, to help the city, the town. So, you know, we're not against, I mean, it's not like it's that long road to pay, so.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. All right, since y'all seen the resolutions in there, what is it? Pleasure of the council.
I make a motion that we, approve resolution number 23-15.
I think.
Or one, there's two of them in
Oh, the one that gives the temporary
the conditional approval.
conditional approval.
We can, now, just to, so everybody, so it's on the record, we can still, this isn't the final naysay, there's still one more step,
It's conditional.
There's a lot of steps.
a lot of
A
steps.
lot of stuff. Okay. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, next up. Okay. As you recall, we're still trying to find a vehicle for town hall staff to run errands to the bank and the post office and county meetings and all that sort of thing. So again, there's still no availability through the GM, so I asked Jared from Duval Ford to give us a quote for Ford. This was remember last time we came back with a Ford Explorer. This was a little smaller. This is a Ford Edge, a 2023 Ford Edge. And what's the total? 32 and change?
37, 420.
Can I ask you a question out of personal curiosity?
Yes.
General Motors is saying they don't have a vehicle to sell you?
For allocation for, on state bid. They only gave 11 out to the state of Florida, and the city of Jacksonville got all of
Now I
them.
understand.
So, we're still in chip problem right now.
I was afraid that General Motors was going to be
No, that's all they got from
Oh, would
the
be a
state
good
bid.
sign to be
Yeah.
honest.
So
And
Ford
is
has
this the
some.
only dealership that does state bids?
Well, you know, it's funny you say that, because when I was at the Florida League of Cities annual conference, I met with somebody who worked on state bids, and I went up to him and said, listen, this is what I'm trying to do, I'm having a really hard time, I'm working with this guy Jared from Duval Ford, you know, is there any way you can help me, get me to somebody else, get me whatever? And it ends up, he sends it right back to this guy, and I was like,
That's what I told you.
yeah, I don't know if he is literally the only guy or not, but, you know, I tried to go elsewhere and ended up right back here. So, if it's too expensive, I can keep looking, but right now, this is where we're at. Just to let you know, we currently haven't from our ARPA funds remaining, $104,467.22. If you guys approve this and the truck for Public Works, we would be entirely out of money for our project. So I just need you to know what you would like me to do.
Y'all need to talk about town hall, that's for sure.
Pleasure.
Me and Curtis already talked about the other ones for Public Works, so we'll bring that in a second. I think y'all need to car, you would be like this car,
It's fine.
big enough for y'all, do whatever. I make a motion that we get the 2024 Ford Edge for the town hall.
What was the availability on it, sir?
I think we can have by the end of the year, but I will double check that. He knows we need to expend the funds by 12th.
This is the problem right here. What we're fixing to talk about is it works, so, okay? I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
That's it.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Amen.
Opposed, same, motion carries. How you vote?
So that's good, $2,000.
Okay, now, next up is, I want to get everybody educated on something I knew nothing about until a few weeks ago. So this PFAS, which I can't even pronounce the word that it stands for, came to light from Florida Rural Water Association. So, in the beginning of your packet is just an email from the law firm that's representing us in the class action lawsuit. And then there's a retainer agreement that I've already completed. Andrew Green from Florida Rural Water and I worked on this a few weeks ago. Then there's a presentation. I was hoping they were going to come in and actually make a presentation to the council, but they're in like a meeting or something, so that wasn't an option. So they sent kind of this working to fight environmental contamination and cost recovery program. So PFAS is something that is it's a man-made chemical, and it's in everything from makeup, food packaging. This was the example that Andrew gave to me. When you guys, like when you go to Julie's and you get your food in that styrofoam container, that's PFAS. PFAS is in that container. So it's in everything. It's in pesticides, it's in firefighting foam. That's another big concern. It's in a lot of things. And the two companies that are kind of the biggest culprits of this are 3M and DuPont. Those are probably the ones that you guys will be most familiar with. So the reason it's coming up is because 3M just settled a $12.5 billion lawsuit. Okay? And these chemicals, I guess I should say that too, these chemicals can cause cancer, preeclampsia, thyroid disease, ulcerative colitis, is that right? So there's no money for us to get involved in this class action, and if we don't win, we don't have to pay anything. But Andrew has been working with me pretty closely because of the fact that if there is PFAS in our water, we don't know that there is, I'm not saying that there is, I'm being very clear about that, we don't know that there is. But if the state comes down, 6 months or a year, depending on how this grows in intensity, they come back and then say, you need to test your water for this PFAS, and we're found to have PFAS in our water, well then there's going to be a problem. And if you look in the packet, it tells exactly how much is allowed. It's a very small amount. It seems like the majority of these cases are really in the Midwest, like Colorado and Oklahoma, I believe. But again, it could be, I know we're not using a lot of the foam, right? We haven't used a lot of the foam for firefighting, but they're saying that, in places where firefighting, they're using this in like their academies and stuff like that, or military bases, this PFAS is kind of everywhere. So,
Our new truck is
right, in our neutral bases, right. So, I wanted you guys to kind of get up to speed on it because it is something we're going to continue to monitor, and like I said, we're already part of this class action. They keep coming back and asking for more and more information. Andrew's coming in tomorrow to fill out the next portion that we have to submit. And they're asking about if we've tested it, and if we have, trace amounts in the water and things like that. And again, I'm not saying that we do, but We just want to make sure that if something comes down from the state, then now we're covered under this class action lawsuit, and we could potentially get funding to remediate any PFAS that are fun stuff.
So are we gonna get our water tested?
It's not something we've talked about yet. I mean, it probably is something we could talk to Lonnie about, but I don't know if I want to go there quite yet. I just want to kind of play this out right now to see what happens. We may end up having to as part of this class action lawsuit. And Curtis, again, to be clear, Curtis does not think this is something that is affecting us, but we don't want it to run over us. You know what I mean? We don't want to find out after the fact that we have it and then not have any recourse to fix it. Now the residents have to, pay for it. So we're just trying to be on the, upfront side.
Do we know how much it costs to have testing done?
I don't. We haven't even gone that far, but it is something I can look into.
Yeah, that's good, that was my question.
Yes, I can certainly look into it. That's everything I wish.
All right, Curtis?
Short, simple. So we have the information for the football Duval for the 2023. What we talking about, purchasing or not. We did get Ford 350, we got the bed put on it, we got the dump trailer for it. Personally, we still have the 2008 Ford F-150 that needs a motor.
You have the dollar figure for that yet?
$4,035,000. Yeah, I'm going to put it. So we just approved for them to get a vehicle, so I think, just listening to a couple of things, I'm going to apply some lift station pumps, to Stevens Street, and down the Cobb. We would have to change the receptacles, the panel, to get an upgraded pump. But since we have an ARPA money, it might be wise to go ahead and get a pump that will just go right into that lift station. Versus trying to get, whatever the council pleasure for us, get in the truck or whatever.
Do you need it?
We need some people, like right now, my vehicle, the one Chad, for the ambulance, it's the only two vehicles that we can go anywhere. We have Russell truck, which is a 2002 F-150. We have a little Ford Ranger, and that's about it. That's it. Those 4 trucks right there.
So, Curtis, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So the lift stations that you're talking about, didn't we buy a bunch of lift stations with ARPA money?
No, we bought some ground pumps.
Oh, lift station.
Lift station.
Lift station costs like $1 million.
Lift station pumps.
What did you just say again? Sorry.
Lift station pumps, for Stevens Street,
Oh.
and they're gonna be anywhere from $9,000 to $11,000.
So, I mean, if you guys don't want to move forward with one of these trucks, because again, I know they're expensive, we're looking at 60 or 70,000, and then we're through with our ARPA money. Do you want to entertain getting another truck like yours? Would that be helpful?
We need a vehicle, I talked about going, I don't think we have to buy a brand new truck. I mean, something that you can get a used truck, a truck with like 45,000, 50,000 miles on it, for the price of one. You probably need 2 trucks. It's not my money, but for me.
Well, was there a particular reason that we were looking at getting, I mean, originally I know it was the Silverado, but again, we can't get
Yeah,
into
we wanted to, looking at that F-Ford, the Ford 350, do it, but they didn't have that in the chassis and all those things. So it kind of, I guess we all have been dealing with them. I think all that kind of just, because we're trying to get it through the state bid, it's not being available. So it's been several different things, the truck, the type of truck.
No, I mean, like, what would you physically be doing with this truck? Like, can you give us an idea as to what you would be using it for?
For employees to check lift stations, so we only have, like I said, we only have my truck, Russell truck, and the Ford. range.
So does it make sense to spend this kind of money, is what I'm getting at, as opposed to buying
No,
another
these
truck
were-
like yours?
I'm saying, I've been.
Basically, he just said no.
That's what, these had the utility bed on is what we were looking at, and then either me and Curtis or me and Stu are gonna go shopping and outfit that, the new one, which is the flatbed on with toolboxes and stuff. And then we can use that to have all of our stuff, and then that's the truck we need to haul the dump trailer with. Because even if we bought one of these with a utility bed, you can't haul that dump trailer with it, because the tongue doesn't go up high enough, it won't get over the boxes. And so you have to, that flatbed out there is the only one to be able to haul that dump trailer anyway. So, and then if we get an equipment trailer or something to haul a mini X or a tractor on, that, the one we just got out there is more than capable. For no farther than we'll be hauling it in our 4 square mile radius to haul the mini excavator. I think it's perfectly capable of doing the job.
So, I mean,
So you'd rather hold off on these?
well, really, this, and, you know, I've been telling you how I felt about the new truck and all that. I mean, and it's difficult, we hadn't gotten the state bid. Personally, for me, I do, you know, a good used truck, I mean, but to spend the money for one truck when we can get 2 when we need vehicles, it's not, it doesn't make any sense to me to spend that kind of money for another new truck and you still short a vehicle. I know we want to have new stuff, you know, but right now we get down to where, you know, just like you said, you all just got approved to get a vehicle, so that's going to take away from the money. So the money that we have left, I think we should spend it wisely and get some of the other things that
Well,
may come
when I
up.
called Jared the other day and I talked to him about we had the 350 4-wheel drive with all the stuff with the boosters and bells and everything. And I asked him to downsize, and it'll be decent, having to downsize that to just a plain 350. But something that would tote that utility bed body on the back so they can lock up their tools and do all that stuff and carry everything. And that's basically the second bid that they got here for $68,000 total. You compare it to 250, which is $66,000. So you're talking about $2,000. And that's with the bed, the body, and everything. Then you got a brand new vehicle. And yes, we can go buy a used one, but the warranties and everything else that, you know, step away from them. And I'm just looking at futuristic down the road. At that point in time, our fleet of vehicles will be almost new. We've got 2 new pickups. If we get this, how many more did you say you need?
I'm saying, we need these 2 more vehicles, you can't count them at work because this truck is never here.
Right, it's good.
So like right now, my truck is the only truck on public works side
Right.
that you know,
Trust to go anywhere.
well, right, have to go get somebody, pick somebody up, some other truck.
I'd say we need to see if he needs those lift station pumps. I'd say we get the quote
Yeah.
for those and then see where we're at after that with money wise.
You know, I'm just looking at, you know, if we're gonna spend money, you know, I mean, we need vehicles, like, right, we need, the other day, the little Ranger wouldn't crank, so,
Okay, so what you're saying, get two
I'm saying if we can't,
get 2 pickups instead of the bigger truck, is that what you're saying?
yes. That would be fine.
So whatever you feel like you need to work with, I mean.
I just need a vehicle, you know, it don't have to be, for me, personally, it don't have to be, a brand new vehicle, spending $60,000 for a vehicle.
Well, I don't want to be buying somebody else's problem either.
Right, you know, you take a chance, you know, I mean,
I think that Curtis has a good idea that, if you get 2 older trucks, older could be like a 2020, 2021. It don't have to be a 19T.
Yeah.
no, I'm not trying to say go buy something that got 100,000 miles, you know.
No.
But something that, you know, you can still kind of good used truck and still have some warranty.
And to be a good truck.
And for the usage of it, you know, we got a 4 square mile city. I mean, it's not like you're gonna be driving just 1 mile a day.
Would any of you be taking the trucks home?
No.
All the vehicle we got to do is on the truck.
That's the only one. that goes,
And that's because it's easier.
because where he lives, you know, for him, to instead of coming here.
Well,
We can do some calling around this
I think it's saying, let's make a suggestion here, let's call around and just see what we can, consolidate. We got plenty of time. I mean, listen, these people, that's what I was going to tell you about what the problem is here. I talked to Jared about this truck in order. He said, yeah, we can put it in there. I said, will we have it before the end of the year? No. I'll talk about policy.
And see, another thing is why, you know, we gotta spend this money by December, right? So if it's not,
There's some,
you know, we get into November, December,
but like you say,
then you rush to buy something that you may not really want because you're trying to get rid of the money.
and then you got 6 months basically that you have, because like he said it'd be in the next year before we can possibly get it, so you got 6, 8 months that you don't have a vehicle.
So
What you need now.
can everybody here find a couple that we can vote on for this next meeting?
That first will be the shop.
Okay.
Bring us back.
I kind of, my son's friend, Jacob, his dad works at the Jeep dealership, the Dodge dealership, and Jeep, he's really good with me.
See what they got out there later. That good with everybody? Good.
Great with me.
Second thing is the quote from A1 Aluminum and Workman. I contacted both of Aluminum and Workman to inform them that we needed a clear, wanted to make sure he was clear on understanding of what the footage was. A1 did come back, the guy from Workman, he came back, we walked it together, rolled it out and measured it, and he's good with the bid for the footage and the numbers that he submitted. Because A1, since I didn't hear any more from him, I think he did send in another quote, but I didn't have any contact with him. So I think it's both bids at the packet.
$7,800.
A1 is
77.
78.
No, it says it decreased. The quote from Workman decreased from $8,004.66 to $7,770.10. And that includes the gutters.
A1 went from 4750 to 7800. Basically, A1 was trying to come up to match with, I mean, they're basically the same. 7800 versus 7770. I don't know about the warranty with A1 because it doesn't say anything on here. I just know that the warranty with Workman is a 25-year paint, material, and 2 years labor.
I think it's the same thing. Most of them have the same, have to have it manufactured. Like the shingles and all that stuff, they have to have manufactured.
Okay, pleasure to council.
I make a motion that we accept the bid from Workman?
A1 aluminum is from Bronson. Workman is not a Bronson. Just for general knowledge.
All right.
A1 didn't come back out here, did they?
Did anyone come back up here first, physically?
And that is talking about, that he said, he sent a quote, so he sent a quote back to you. But I didn't, we got to work.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
I'll say yeah.
The last thing is the green power quote for the generators, the wastewater treatment plant. About 3 weeks ago, We have a rat that got caught up in the fan, broke the fan, punched a hole in the radiator. And so I think we all have the price on what's going to take to fix it. That's something that we have to have, even by state statute, we have to have a generator there. So wind power, we do the maintenance on our generators. I think with this quote is kind of high, I think they're gonna replace the whole new radiator, new fan. Now, I can't say if it's $11,000 worth, but
That's what I was gonna ask you, is it because we're under a maintenance contract with them, is why we have to go with CAT? Or can we get another,
Will it break the?
another mobile, yeah, will it break a thing if we have somebody else work on it? Will it break them? Because there's plenty of mobile diesel mechanics around, that's why.
It probably will, Tyler, because you know if you have somebody
Well,
else.
that's why I figured it would probably break the maintenance contract.
Yeah.
Well, there is no warranty, I think it's just a maintenance contract.
yeah, but it'll probably be the same thing like with the water tower. If we
Yeah.
have somebody else to come work on the water tower when we have a contract with utility services, they're not gonna guarantee, they're not gonna be responsible for somebody else's work.
Correct.
Okay. Again, pleasure of council.
Make a motion to accept the bid from CAT to come fix the generator.
I second.
Again, probably moved to second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none motion carries.
And I apologize, that sounds a little unorganized about the trucks, but that won't happen.
Trucking industry is all over. You talk to these people and they tell you you can't get good trucks because they don't have the chips. So yeah, that's the world we live in today. So yeah. Dennis, what you got left?
Yeah, that lawnmower got old. I don't have a lot, just the, remind y'all that Gail and Robert is going to look at the new truck next week, and we should be receiving it around the end of July. I know we just made the first truck payment on it, and I guess we need to get that paperwork to,
We just got the invoice.
to move it.
Invoice
Yeah.
today.
We already paid it, didn't we?
No.
Okay.
I got the invoice today.
So,
I sent it back.
You pulled that really fast to me.
344,000, yeah, that's not cheap.
My wife, it was
So,
great.
the other truck we're still working on, it's, done a long process with the box on it, so that, we're still working on that. Gail should be back and we'll be going down and look at some more measurements and stuff to see what we can do to curve it to try to get a better price on it. But that's all I got.
All right. Mr. Warren?
There's something here under the agenda that says FLC's Guide to Section 5 of the 2023 Live Local Act for Florida municipalities. I have no idea what that is.
You brought that up to me, which is why I put it in the packet. So this was a memorandum from Craig Kahn, General Counsel at Florida League of Cities, regarding this 2023 Live Local Act. Do you not remember that? It was a-
I
it was a week or
honestly
two ago.
don't. What was the general subject? Just give me a 2-word clue.
Let me read the first paragraph.
No, even
You might-
better.
Okay, effective July 1st, 2023, so when was that, a week ago? The Live Local Act allocates significant funding and incentives to affordable housing, which is something that the Florida League of Cities strongly supports. However, Section 5 of the Act revises Section 166.04151 statutes to create a new subsection 7 precluding local government's ability to apply their use, height, and density restrictions in hearing processes to qualifying developments with affordable housing units.
Okay, that's what I wanted you to be aware of. There's obviously an initiative from the state to encourage and propagate affordable housing, and they're cutting into the ability of the municipalities to regulate it. So, even when it comes up, at least we're aware that it exists. We're not dealing with anything in that realm right now, but there it is.
I think I've got a webinar on it coming up in the next couple of days, so I can report back on it too.
Oh, that's it. You got anything
That's
else?
it. No, that's it.
All right.
I didn't know it had that.
All right. Okay, committee reports. I'll start off by telling everybody what a fantastic job everybody did on the 4th of July. It was fantastic. Excellent. Fireworks was excellent. We did good on the better play. My children tell me that Winston or Cedar Key.
All right, same time.
All right.
So
Well, same
that's
engagement.
good. Miss Virginia is to be commended on the jump rope thing. I cannot believe I sit right there and watch full-grown adults jumping rope. It brought back fond memories. So thank you for that. I got a lot of enjoyment out of watching some crazy people do some crazy things.
I also passed out over 80 pairs of, earbuds, buds.
Okay.
And a lot of children, their parents were like, no, we don't need that. And their kids were like, yes, please, let me do this.
Well, it was good. It was real good. So, and I had a good time. And Sherry peanuts on good, but they were good. They were really good. And happy with that. It was good. So, Curtis, commend your guys on the work that they did. Y'all, it was tree weekend. I don't know whether y'all aware of that or not. But we had 2 trees. I mean, it was 2 or 3.
Two
Down
apiece.
the road. And the guys were not only working 4th of July, they were working all weekend too. So anyhow, they're commended on that. And with the jobs that everybody done, everything went real smoothly. I'm proud of it. It's been good. So everybody, pat yourself on the back. Good one in the show. And that's basically all I got.
Yes, Miss Marie is here. Miss Marie, you want to stand up and come to the podium? She is on 620 Picnic Street. She had told me about an issue that she was having.
And Preston too, but he's not here. He's
Yes,
at the hospital.
she's speaking for Mr. Preston also, who is at the hospital with his wife. If you want to tell them what the issue is.
Well, Mr. Park knows it started like at Miss Mosley's house that we've had years ago. And now it's come to my house and the ditches are full. And they don't have one place to go in this our yard. And our yards are full of water. I mean, this last rain, not this rain, but it'll come, it's got water in them. But the last rain we had, I mean, both of our roads were full of water. And
We had to back it up in the
you
corner.
can tell in the ditch, when I first moved to Bronson, there was things that went on my road. And you can tell by the people that has put the pavement down on our road, mowing people, big trucks come through, because there used to be a sign that we didn't have no big trucks. They see that sign down there, so they try to turn around in my yard, because they don't realize that it goes around. But we're drinking a lot of water over there. Freda's backyard is full of water. Miss Mosley's house was that deep in water. And it's been a problem for a long time. And now we're drinking a lot of water over there.
Yes, ma'am. I called the county, and the county told me that that was not their road. That did not belong to them. So I went and talked to Miss Sue, and Miss Sue got on them immediately. And before they had went out for the weekend on Friday, Mr. Casey had sent us an email saying that that is their road and that he will be looking into it. So as soon as you see anybody working on that road, just text me or email me or send me a message and let me know that they're working on it.
And it even goes down, you know, when you come from the parking, you go around to State 24, that water's under that road. That's one of those guys who were around and tearing up the road in that ditch right there.
Yes, ma'am.
And the water is really bad over there, and the mosquitoes are about to us off.
Yes, ma'am. Hopefully the county will get it fixed. But if they don't, I mean, if I don't hear back from you by the end of this week, I'll call them again. Because they're usually very prompt. Like the day that I called about that stop sign that popped up out of the middle of nowhere, he had a sign out there by lunch saying we have a new stop sign. So he's usually really on it. But if I don't hear from you by
Can
Friday,
you look
I'll call
into that
back.
sign, that semi-sign that they come through our yard, they come through there all the time?
Saying no
And
food
when I
trucks.
first came there, there was
Yeah,
a
we
limit
can
sign.
get
No
that
food
replaced.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can get that replaced. We
Yes,
just have to
ma'am.
call- have to call
Because
it.
them semis, when they see that road down there, they automatically think they can't go around. So they back up, they tear up our driveways.
Right.
I mean, I bet I have 20 people at least once a week turn around my driveway.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
popcorns.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
So you had a sign over there at one point though that said no through trucks?
Yes.
It just is
Yes.
gone
On
and
the road.
disappeared
It
somehow?
just
But there's
gone.
a bunch of signs on that road that are really old because, there's a lot of trees over it, so the
And your
alleyway.
stop sign is
Yeah.
covered. If
Yeah.
you didn't know the sign, you wouldn't stop.
And, so we had another issue before, the 4th of July. Miss Brenda, who lives at the property right before you get to the park, for some reason, her address has been used as a park address for years. I have no idea why, but, so she called and she said she was tired of people, coming to her house looking for the park. So I Googled the address of the park, and Google had her address listed as the park. So, just to let everybody know, her address is 275 Picnic, the park address is 220 Picnic. I had changed it on Google, so that's a good thing.
And it's changed on our website.
Yes, so hopefully we won't have any more problems with that.
Can we put a sign out there with the 911 address on it, which should be the 220? Like right there at that, when you're going for the, when you get to that first bump where the, that says no dogs and all that stuff, then we might want to put the address there. You never know, if somebody have an accident out there, somebody gets sick out there, you wouldn't know what the address was to call the ambulance or tell them anything, because it's not listed out there. And then people know that that's the park, because that's the address is right there.
Yeah, she called, Angela first, and Angela, did not take it so well.
That's a lovely way of putting it.
Can I just say one more thing? You know the road that's across the street from my house, I think that's Main Street that goes through those woods?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
That road is horrible. They only use it, young people use it to have sex, so there's condoms all over the place.
That's a county road as well.
Yeah, they don't take care of it. You can't, I mean, they're riding a golf cart through there or walk.
I just saw like 5 gas cans in the little ditch part right there. I saw 5 gas cans on that road.
And I know there's somebody on bicycles, they meet there every night. I don't know what they're doing, but they go over there every
They're having
night.
sex on the
But you
bike.
go over there, there's condoms all over.
Moving right on along.
Ms. Sherry, while you're speaking of the map and the address for the Euclid, it may not be a bad idea to put, how the one gate stays closed.
Yes.
Just speaking from
Put it on
being
both
EMS, that they make that road like a dead end. Because some people, we got a lot of new people, not there anymore, but got a lot of new people coming in, and a lot of them use the GPS to
Oh,
come
yeah,
in. So
that
if they put in their address, it might bring it by Mr. Marina's house.
Right.
Instead of coming into the main.
Oh,
main
Yeah,
address.
because their GPS doesn't have that roadblock. The semi told me.
Yeah.
He said that, look at my GPS, it says he can go straight through
The
there.
GPS does not work in
It
Lee
don't
County.
work.
It's not the spirit of Lee County. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes the ambulance stopped at my house, and they were looking for Creed's house.
It was,
We said 610, and they had 110. So, and that's just happened like 4 days ago.
it would just be good if you had a true, real emergency out there,
Yeah.
especially with the, the larger get-togethers. It would not be a bad idea.
Thank you. All right.
I think that's all.
Are you good? Tom?
I don't have nothing on the fire department. I got the 2 quotes and I'm gonna give them, I emailed one of the 2 already, and the other one's waiting to get emailed to me about grinding the stumps right here at the park, or at the,
Yeah.
library. So I think it'll be about $600. So we'll get all that ground down.
Ms. Sherry?
I wanted to know if we could, it seemed like I asked this before, if we could put a sign at the end of the road for the park that tells people that the park is down there, because I had 55 people tell me, I didn't even know we had a parking lot.
State of Florida said no.
That's what, and I said, I remember, I thought I asked that before.
You did. Oh, and just to let everybody know, that was at the 4th. We did have an issue with, Miss Shelby. She was saying that, the bathrooms were not properly, labeled, and there was gentlemen going into the women's bathroom. So the very next morning, I went and put signs up.
Which bathroom, at the park?
Yes.
Yeah.
The ones on the soccer
Yeah,
field.
I can show you the before and after.
Unless somebody took the stop signs down.
Yeah, they weren't, on the fourth, when you opened, because that door was left open, we couldn't see the sign, so she put them on the other side,
this
so
was-
that when you open the door, you can see it.
They were just written in like magic marker that was really old.
It's just-
And then, so I just went and got the ones like that. I put one on the door and then I put the ones on the side. By code, it's supposed to be like 60 inches from the ground. So I put them up there by code too.
Check on that again first.
That they not running away.
Yeah.
Okay. That it, Ms. Sheriff?
No, like I said, I thought everything went pretty good.
Fantastic.
Real good turnout. We want to give it-
Yes.
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. So are we planning on doing anything for trunk or treat?
Oh, yeah, I forgot, that was the other question.
Yeah, we're hinting at it. Doing a little something for trunk or treat. Cause that was a good get together. I was mad at myself because I was like, we could have had some card tables out there. Everybody plays spades.
Last year, didn't we leave it up to the churches to do trunk or treat?
But I thought it was,
I think
I thought the churches,
I think the church initiated it, they started it, and we,
I thought it was because the town didn't do
I
The
think,
town used to do it.
I think they asked us before we discussed it, and then it came before us that they were gonna do it, and
Yeah.
we were supposed to invite other people.
The churches had planned it before we got involved, so we allowed the churches.
So we
to
just-
help advertise.
Okay, y'all can have it.
it. So we letting them keep it or?
I'll just promote it, just get promoted, get it sorted.
You want to do one, let's do one. It's fine.
If, I have one request,
More
please.
people just come.
If we are going to do an event, can we
Come out
please
woods.
have a longer pre-planning process?
Yes,
Instead of
yes.
6 weeks
Yeah, like
prior.
right now.
So if we want to do trunk or treat in
We
the
need to
next
start planning
week or
it now.
two, so we need to start planning it.
Yes, ma'am.
Same with 4th of July, we really should start planning it next month or next year, that way it's.
Exactly.
One thing about trunk or treat is, it seemed to be more safer than
Oh, it's a lot of
to the church compared to the bar.
It is.
Because there's no cars running through there.
I'm all for a trunk or treat.
Me too.
That it, Ms. Sheriff?
Yes.
Okay. Frank?
Yes, the cemetery seems to be on a much better schedule now than it ever was before because it's being cut at least once every 2 weeks or something like that. It used to be cut whenever there's gonna be a funeral, they'll cut it that week. But until then, they broke it up.
I have a
So
question.
now it's a lot better by being on the schedule. And I can check it because I live almost in it.
The inmates help out a lot with that.
I have a question about the cemetery on 24th. And I'm sure that somebody has asked this at some point. I know I'm not the first person. Are they ever gonna do anything about the wall?
Privately.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So they just gonna let it fall on the road? Okay.
I'm pretty sure Wilburdine's the president of that.
Yes, yes.
Oh, did we?
Yes.
No,
It's privately
privately owned by.
County owns
the bar.
0 cemeteries in Levy County.
But it's maintained by the county.
No, it is not. It is private.
Oh, it's privately maintained.
Private.
They own it,
But do
privately
you
maintained.
contact the county
No,
to?
you do not.
Maybe because, okay.
Yeah, it's
You know,
privately maintained.
Last time we talked about that, I called John. John said that he was pretty sure Wilbur was.
So maybe that's why
head of it.
people say call
That's why
county.
people call county, because they usually talk Wilbur.
Wilbur.
Yeah.
But, John says the county owns 0 cemeteries. They have nothing to do with it.
I was just wondering.
Yeah, no, it's privately owned. It's,
So that, just.
they usually do work days and stuff, but.
That concrete block wall has been leaning like that since I was
I
a
know,
child.
and I knew I was not the
It's
first
leaning
person to
deep,
ask.
it's gonna fall one of these days, but we just don't know.
Yes, sir.
But if it does fall, it's not a saver, when it falls on, it's the, it's a saver.
I love you.
And the state side.
Won't do, bro.
And a state sidewalk, which means that, yes, you're not being.
All right.
Hold on, before we go,
Any more?
I got one more question, before you go, on the library. Did we get a response back about when, he's gonna start the lights?
Yes, he came and, so the lights are just sitting outside of my office, there's
Right.
120 lights, or 160 lights. Jordan DeVar is off on Fridays, he works for
Okay.
tennis, so he came over on Friday and picked up a couple boxes in New York.
We started.
Mhm. Yep, so he's just gonna do them as he can, like on Fridays, for a
Oh,
couple
yeah,
hours. It's gonna take him
Yeah, cause
several months to do something.
that's all right, it won't be like light dark in there.
No, he did start the,
And I went in and I asked about the chalk wall, and she said the kids love the added
it's awesome.
space because it's so much bigger down there.
Y'all put the clock. Y'all put the clock. There was a clock right there, like when you pay for your copies or print something off, it was a nice little clock. I was like, what happened to the clock? She was like, oh, they came in here and cleaned up, they did such a little.
Right behind the desk?
Yes.
Did we take it down?
We didn't go behind the desk.
That's what she said.
That clock was already
stuff we
done.
took down the walls where I painted.
Yeah.
That clock's been there for 10 years. It
Oh,
was put in when I was there. It was put in when I was there.
We didn't take it down.
Well, the clock is gone, and there's a chalk wall now, and everybody's happy.
Not there.
No,
Not
behind
where
the
the
chalk
chalk,
desk.
I mean, not where the clock was. But I love the chalk wall. It is beautiful.
If they want a clock,
I think so beautiful.
we can buy them a clock, yeah, that's not a
It's
problem.
not the same as the clock.
Okay.
We can buy them a clock.
Excuse me?
I can buy one of those.
You got to wait a second.
Come on, Doug.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me wait, hold on, William, let me get my papers.
I know, right?
I don't think he was here when you
He
did
was not here.
that.
He was.
Give me your name.
Wilbur is privately owned, but Wilbur is in charge of our, is that the president? Yeah. Mary Bird and,
Oh, Mary Bird from, oh, wow.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, sir? My name is William Johnson. I live on Cobb School Street in Bronson. I would want to have a event for a block party, and I wanted to know what the guidelines, rules, and I wanted to get the roadblock up, and I just wanted to have an event. And if anything happens, I just wanted y'all to be cool with it, and so nothing will happen, and I wanted to get the guidelines, rules.
You talking about a block party at your house?
Yes, ma'am.
I think, well, I know that, I think there's permits before, I'm pretty sure.
Do you have a date set in mind?
Yes, August the 6th. On
That's
Sunday.
kind of close now.
Yeah, I know, but if it's like too late and y'all have to go through the process and do all this, I will cancel the event.
I mean, if it's at your house, you have to block off 3 roads. Cause you're dead into 3 roads, like, okay, so,
What roads are we talking about?
Just about from school.
He lives across from our church.
yes, but it's where Glover Street comes out and dead ends it.
You have to block off Glover Street, then the intersection of Pine.
Yeah,
And
That section.
Yeah.
I don't think you're
I
going
think
to.
you can block off there.
that's a big
Not a main
intersection.
intersection.
I understand.
Emergency situations that could occur, and hopefully they don't happen, but if it did, that would fall.
I understand.
You'd have to pay to have police sitting out there at the intersection and all that stuff. They get expensive.
I don't think that's good. The question,
That's why.
They do have, like where I live, they have had, block parties before, where they block off the street, but where I live, you're not blocking off 3 streets. Just,
Could you possibly,
Contract.
like move it over to maybe, block up Pine Street, and that be the only street?
Too much traffic. Somebody's place right there. You know, I just don't want to have it right there on Pine Street. I at least want to be at my place too, sir. So if I'm ready to shut it down, everybody can go. You know, and I can just walk in my house.
but the problem lies with.
I understand what you're saying, the roads and stuff, man.
Well, no,
I
not
understand that.
just that. The problem also lies in, if something happens, then EMS has to get to you.
Yes, ma'am.
90% of the people that are at a block party will not move out of the way for EMS to get in there. No
Yes, ma'am.
offense, I'm
Yes,
just
ma'am. I
saying
understand.
that, they have to be able to get in there to help whoever, Lord forbid anything happen, but
Yes, ma'am.
that's the biggest problem that I foresee.
I understand that too. I was looking at on both ways.
Yes,
And I understand that if something happened, it's actually my fault because I wanted this event. So I understand.
If we have it like on levels, that'll be near your house. Block off against Level Street.
You can't have it at the park.
You know, I would just say just deny it. At least I can look and try to just deny it. Yes, sir.
So if you find somebody that has a big piece of property, like a big open area, that would be the person that you would ask to have it at their location, you know?
Yes, and it's fine. Like I said, I thank y'all for your time, y'all patience. At least I come up here and have a talk with y'all, and I thank y'all. Y'all have a
That's doing it the right way.
Yes, ma'am. I thank y'all. Y'all have a wonderful, blessed day.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right.
Y'all have a blessed day.
All right. I wasn't gonna say anything, but since we talk about roads and streets, Mongo and Pine, Mongo's been missing for years. So
The
that's
sign?
the sign, yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
Did you just put up a sign on Mongo, though, Curtis?
Nope.
It's a brand new street sign. Is it a different area?
Yes.
So I had went down Mungo, and I actually saw that there were a few signs that was left over from the school, when the school was behind there. So I had gotten with Ms. Sue, and I told her that I was gonna ride around and, you know, see which signs need to be removed and which one of those need to be replaced. Well, you're saying that that one definitely needs to be replaced.
It's not one there.
Okay.
It don't need to be replaced, if you want to put it up.
It ain't never been one?
It was one there.
All right, Gary, appreciate it. We'll take care of that. Okay?
Gary, from now on out, get with Virginia. Yeah. Keep this street person.
All right. We have anybody else? Not so. I'll entertain the motion to pay the bills.
Make a motion to pay the bills.
That's it.
Walter moves in second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Same, motion carries.